What is the stupidest thing a large amount of people believe in? That Marilyn Manson had surgery to remove his own ribs to suck himself off. Who started this, and how was it a rumor in every middle school in America? Edit. Wow. Hello world. I'm going to leave it as is, saying America, so more countries can check in and prove me wrong. Edit 2. How did this happen? Not just America. I live in the Netherlands and we talked about that as well. Amazing how a rumor like that can travel across the globe without internet. That influencers, celebrities, politicians and businesses are genuinely interested in you and your lives. I'm not sure what gave rise to the current influencer era, but I wish it would go away. I swear they are everywhere. It's an effective way of advertising. Now that people have ad blockers on everything, an influencer is basically a walking modern form of the good old ad boards. MLMs will make you rich. Just be the one starting the MLM. We have blue blood, and it turns red when exposed to oxygen. Yeah, anyone with an education knows it's green. Thank you, Mr. Spock. MLMs. Lots of people who are actively in MLMs also believe MLMs are stupid. They just believe their MLM somehow is not an MLM because it's called something else like network marketing, or they are an independent distributor. I don't know how people can make it this far in life in modern society and still not be able to spot the obvious scams. I'll be there in 5 minutes. I'm on my way right now. I used to have a friend who would always say this, so I started making her honk her horn to prove she was actually in the car. They're just gonna buy an air horn. We only use 10% of our brain. One of my favorite comments from Reddit is using 100% of your brain is called a seizure, and you wouldn't like it, don't know who put it, but still makes me laugh. Or traffic lights only use 33% of their lights. Be useless if all the lights were all in use at once. I did like the movie Lucy, even though I knew it was 100% horseshit. Lucy was actually pretty fun, until she turned into a FPC. A college dropout with tax evasion case will fix the Philippine economy again. 31 million people actually believed this. The moment I completely lost all hope for my country. That a little bit of chloroform on a rag over someone's nose and mouth for a few seconds renders them unconscious. Totally not from first-hand experience. And if you bonk someone over the head, they'll be immediately unconscious, only to wake a few minutes later. Pretty much fine. One of things I love about Archer, when someone gets knocked out he often reminds them, that's really not good for you. Also he gets tinnitus, that gets worse throughout the show as he uses guns without hearing protection. Not just him, but the entire cast has progressively worse tinnitus. Scientology. I'll never forget watching the South Park episode about Scientology and thinking, haha, yeah, this cannot be real. This stuff is way too far-fetched, and then I googled it, and googled the instruments they use for Scientology, and who some well-known names are that who were part of Scientology, and I was completely shocked. They had to put a disclaimer at the bottom of the screen during certain parts of the episode that said this is what Scientologists actually believe, because they thought people would think it was satire. Stop upvoting me, or there's going to be Scientologists snooping through my trash in a week. That millionaire politicians will represent the working class. Haha, so true, and they believe the billionaires have their best interests at heart too. All this after it has been proven wrong time and time again. I absolutely hate the concept of he is not in it for money. He already has enough when talking about rich politicians. Please show me a single multi-billionaire who is not constantly trying to get richer. No one suddenly flips a switch from exploitative capitalist to public servant. Every single rich politician is only interested in getting more wealth/money, and to think otherwise is naive. That mental illnesses aren't real. They're all in your head, like, yes. That's the point. A few years back, I remember talking to a coworker one day about a really bad depression episode I was having, and my boss overheard. He scoffed and was like, depression? Just think happy thoughts and be happy. Did you punch him in the throat and tell him to just think breathy thoughts and just breathe? That screaming at whichever hapless employee had to answer your call will magically get a supervisor on the line. It might work in a few places, but the person you want to talk to is probably too busy to deal with you, or they don't care. And the person you're cursing out is being paid to handle calls, so their boss don't have to do that on top of their actual job. 2. At least that's been the case at most of the places where I've worked. Note, I have never worked in a call center. So no, there wasn't a supervisor standing by. Incidentally, when I was a partial owner of a small business, anyone who was abusive to an employee was banned. Full stop. I refuse to tolerate that nonsense. Edit. Holy cow. This blew up. Remember to be nice to the people who did show up for work and are trying to help you. Healthy hands may be tight. That we didn't go to moon. You believe there's a moon? It's cheese. Grommet. The moon is made of cheese. We forgot the crackers. Many conspiracy theories, flat earth, projected moon, and the list goes on and on. What is the projected moon conspiracy theory? Is it that the moon doesn't exist and the government has like some huge projector that makes it seem real? Please tell me I'm wrong. Nope, that's the theory I've heard. OHH. So that's why we see moon only half of the day. They are changing the light bulb on the projector. That one race can be superior to another. That hair grows back thicker if you shave it. I'm certain this was made up to convince young men with patchy facial pubes to shave. It's just that the hair appears thicker after the first cut because the ends of the hair are no longer tapered. So it makes the hair more prominent but not thicker. That and OIDK. People first start shaving as they are becoming adults and they were always going to get more hair. Ours is there for the employee's benefit / protection. I used to believe that and worked with a few that actually did support and help employees. There was a moment when management sent out a confidential survey to the entire company. Apparently, some people were too frank for management. They were bullying the HR rep into giving them who said what. She told them that if she gave them the information, no one would ever trust the surveys again. She didn't cave in. However, she lasted only another 6 months. The new guy that came and gave off an immediate company man kind of vibe. I've never been honest in a survey after that. Everything is fine. It's not worth my time fighting those battles. Retirement is looming, and I'm not endangering all that I worked for. My old company did one of those surveys. The email stated, "We want your opinion." The answers were all multiple choice, with no field for writing a response anywhere. My boss asked me what I'd thought of the survey and I replied, "It's funny how they asked for our opinion without actually letting us give it." He didn't like that response. That the Holocaust didn't happen. Liar are gonna lie, and people believe lies. My father was in WWII. His U.S. Army unit helped liberate a concentration camp. We are losing the people with a personal connection with this atrocity, and with that loss comes opportunity for lying scum to try to rewrite history. Edit. Having a comment blow up is rewarding. First, thanks for the great comments and conversation. I've learned a bit, and the civility really defies the stereotype that Reddit is toxic. Next, thanks for the awards. I dedicate them to my late dad, a good man among many good men that fought in too many wars. There is a reason generally Senhauer, I believe, ordered pictures to be taken of the camps and all images and videos he shared around the world. If people did not know, then they could say it did not happen. But if you see, then you can never claim it did not happen. Vaccines cause autism, lol. Was at an actual medical convention a few weeks ago. A group of friggin' clinical professionals and or doctors were throwing this topic around. One says, "I don't care what anyone says. I've seen small children who were once normal go get vaccines, and they're autistic weeks later. Just fine before." Someone asked, "Do you mean autistic, or that these children had neurological reactions?" Crickets. Wish more people would realize that one can be a scientist and an idiot at the same time. If university has taught me anything, it's that degrees don't say anything about a person's intelligence. That being in cold temperatures outdoors spontaneously causes illness. This is what happens. Cold temperatures cause blood vessels to constrict. When this happens, your respiratory tract gets fewer white blood cells that it needs to ward off respiratory infections like influenza and bacterial pneumonia. Lower temperatures and extreme humidities, both high and low, keep the virus stable and infectious for longer. Lower temperatures slow down chemical reactions, like the ones that cause viruses to break down. That means the virus can float around in respiratory droplets unencumbered for longer. Lower humidity evaporates droplets to a smaller size, making it easier for the virus to bump into other chemicals in the droplet and inactivate, but only up to a point. If the droplets get too small, the naturally occurring salts in the fluids we exhale crystallize and trap the virus, preserving it for awakening when the drop gets dissolved in a new host's airway. In a 2015 paper, Iwasaki and her colleagues showed that cells lining the airways of mice produced fewer molecules called interferons when they were colder. Interferons are a class of proteins that sound the alarm of a viral crime, calling immune cells to the scene and hopefully stopping it in progress. The Earth being flat. If the Earth was flat, the cats would have knocked everything off of it by now. I have this on a t-shirt. Me too. https://www. Under consideration. com/this/shirt. php. I'm so glad we have brown cows. Otherwise there wouldn't be any chocolate milk. Sad that we have to whip cows for whipped cream though. So I've been boycotting it. Charlie and the Chocolate Factory moment. Horoscope having a serious tangible effect on their lives. Of course you don't believe in astrology. You're a Virgo. My mother. That the guest/customer is always right. The customer is almost never right. F the customer. Found the brothel operator. I still can't get past how many people think the Earth is flat. How? Like actually how do you think that? It's not even how. But why? What leads you to the conclusion that it's all just a big conspiracy? Why would that conspiracy even exist? Canon. I have a theory that Canon is funded by the nursing home industry. Make your boomer parents so awful to be around you gladly send them to a nursing home, instead of moving them in with the family and continuing generational wealth. You should post that on r/conspiracy. I'm sure they'd love it. Homeopathy. James Randi used to take an entire box of homeopathic sleeping pills on stage before he gave his lecture on it. So, I never knew anything about homeopathy when I was a teenager. However, a friend of mine who was about a year or two older worked as a Walgreens pharmacy tech. I mentioned to him once that I was taking medicine for an earache. He asked what kind, and I said IDK. It said homeopathic something or other, and he immediately went off about how garbage they were, only to then follow it up with taking my bottle, of which the bottle mentioned one every 4 hours, and just F-fisted it, easily 10/16 pills, and ate them whole, and he was just fine. That S blew my mind and I haven't taken any homeopathic meds since. That taking a pill will somehow magically make them lose 50 lbs. Edit because it seems a lot of people misunderstood my comment. I'm talking about people who think they don't have to change anything. Their diet, their exercise regimen, nothing. Just pop a pill and suddenly start losing weight. I'm sorry, but if you still overeat every day and don't exercise at all, a pill isn't going to do anything for you.